When we see the display of awards, we first think of the excellence of the Copel student body. However, we forget the blood, sweat, and tears to get there, where the top Copel students in those activities had to compete with their peers to get that prize. Our school's competitive environment drives many to succeed, sometimes at the expense of their mental health, while most feel behind.
Hi everyone, my name is Shresta,
And my name is Shruti.
and today we are addressing a problem that a lot of high schoolers face, yet it does not get talked about enough, and that's academic peer pressure.
Over 6 in 10 US teens feel significant pressure in terms of academic achievement and their future, with much of the pressure coming from them and their fellow classmates.
So we both were motivated to take on this project because academic peer pressure began to feel like the norm in school with a lack of concern on its potential impacts. So, by this project, we hope to expose its negative mental health effects in the short term and long term, which could lead to harmful coping mechanisms such as cheating and substance abuse. To help students address these impacts, we also would like to spread awareness of strategies to reduce academic peer pressure as an individual and community. Beyond the usual, ignore it and suck it up. Overall, half of the problem is identifying there is a problem.
Academic peer pressure and its effects are primarily seen in academic environments. In competitive schools, rates of anxiety and depression have shown to be 6 to 7 times higher than the national average, showing how high pressure environments can exacerbate student well being. So, our target audience is students in Coppell High School, which is known for its academically competitive environment. Our high school is ranked as one of the top 12 public high schools in Texas. Also, it shows above average subject proficiencies and provides over 30 AP and IB courses. For extracurriculars, there's much involvement in diverse activities from our award winning sports and music programs to our high achieving CTE clubs. With high test scores and extracurricular achievement, there's a lot of pressure to succeed, which is well reflective in local student media outlets.
Even recently, district wide academic policy changes have been implemented to reduce competitiveness. By providing direct awareness, we also aim to reduce academic peer pressure since it's still a prevalent part of our school. By learning and presenting about academic peer pressure, I have become more aware of the possible pressure I caused or got, leading to a better school experience for me as I learned to recognize and manage academic peer pressure. In the future, I aspire to become a public health physician where I promote health policies for the betterment of the community. With knowledge and experience from this project, I can better contribute to academic peer pressure education in local schools and implement district wide initiatives to actively reduce academic peer pressure at a community level.
For me, I struggle with managing the academic peer pressure I faced and thought I should continue keeping up with my peers. With this project, I found that many of my classmates felt the same stress and desire for a positive change in the environment. So now I'm comforted in knowing that I'm not alone and empowered to spread the initiative that has made me feel heard. As a child neurologist, my job is to diagnose and treat the brain, nerve, and spinal cord diseases for infants to adolescents. Due to this project, I can better communicate with patients about the impacts of academic peer pressure on their cognition and behavior. Also, I can apply what I learned from my future research on how different stimuli, including external pressures, may alter the brain and affect one's actions in the short term and the long term.
Peer pressure in academics is the influence of classmates and social circles that exert on a student's attitudes, behaviors, and educational choices. This normally occurs in social environments where academic decisions are publicly observable. This could be in classrooms or in high stakes testing periods such as AP test weeks. An individual feeling pressure could stem from almost anything in a learning environment. It could be something a teacher said, a classmate's test grades, or even when a classmate raises their hand. So, what motivates students to succumb to academic peer pressure? Well, it may come from tying your self worth to success in an environment that prizes those who excel.
While academic peer pressure may encourage less or healthy stress in regards to academics, or known as positive pressure, many times it may motivate an excessive focus on school or none at all to fit into a group known as negative pressure. Today, we'll be focusing more on the impacts of promoting academic excellence among peers.
Peer pressure in the form of promoting healthy study habits and supporting others' interests is encouraged. but in excess, it has negative impacts of health and behavior. First, academics induce constant stress on test scores and balancing school with extracurriculars, leading to poor sleep quality, headaches, and fatigue. Aside from stress, the pressure to keep up against competitive peers can result in reduced motivation and burnout as we feel like the achievements of others overshadow our own, lowering self esteem. To cope with the stress, students may resort to unhealthy habits such as inconsistent or excessive eating to substance abuse. In school, the pressure to get perfect grades from constant comparison may motivate cheating on exams and even framing competition for wrongdoing.
In the competitive loop of academic peer pressure, there's some common ways to recognize the pressure. First of all, academic peer pressure tends to involve grade comparison, where students feel the urge to ask or even keep track of other people's academic scores to validate themselves. To impress others, peers may complain about how busy they are with the many extracurriculars they have, making others feel behind as if they're not involved as they are. In regards to future plans, most high school students have and get pressured to follow paths toward prestigious colleges and career paths that get recognition and praise in competitive environments while it may not align with personal goals.
For teens looking for self growth and better mindset, they can first start by taking personal steps toward their well being. To do this, they can first start by prioritizing self care by getting better sleep, like 8 hours per night, attaining healthy food habits, and getting exercise 30 minutes per day, which improves their overall health. While studying, students could also take purposeful 15-minute breaks to refresh themselves so they can come back to studying, feeling, and getting more focused. When struggling, we recommend practicing positive self talk, where they can tell themselves positive affirmations like, I can do this or I got this, so they can dilute outside pressure from other peers and focus on themselves.
On the community level, students can break the stigma around academic peer pressure by educating their classmates about the academic comparison. To do so, it's important to keep one's boundaries to take care of one's personal well being in mind of the negative impacts of academic peer pressure. Even when someone shares an accomplishment, we should celebrate rather than minimize their achievement and brag about our own. To have a healthy and free environment, let's first work together to build a supportive network.
With this initiative, we aim to spread awareness about academic peer pressure so our audience can better identify and reduce instances of this type of pressure in the community. Also, we aim to develop and provide academic peer pressure resources to help students actively address the pressure they feel. To achieve this, we hosted presentations at our school to educate classmates on academic peer pressure, developed an app and website that provides the support and resources to address the impacts of academic peer pressure, and currently run a social media to spread our message and initiative beyond our school.
So far, we have presented to over 350 10th to 12th grade students with varying interests, educating over 10% of 10th to 12th graders in our district. To do so, we presented to four CTE classes, including two Money Matters, four Forensic Science, six Health Science Theory, and six Computer Science 1 and 2 classes. First, we focused on educating the students about academic peer pressure and its instances, impacts, and strategies to address it on a personal and community level. Along the presentation, we implemented a conversation segment called Your Turns, where students participate in real life examples of academic peer pressure and provide thoughts on how to improve the academic environment at CHS. For the health science classes, we also presented on academic peer pressure throughout college and medical school and beyond to emphasize the importance of learning and implementing strategies so that aspiring health professionals in the room can thrive in the competitive environments that will be there. To gauge audience understanding, we end the workshops with a fun little quiz assessment, which got much support in the post evaluation.
In the context of our audience, about 3 and 4 compared our grades and activities, and over 70% treat grades like competition, at least sometimes, especially since 85% of them feel that our school is competitive.
However, only 55% of our audience at least talked about or tried to prevent comparing themselves. Due to this, about half of them said that they would like peer pressure resources.
On that note, the post evaluation showed how only 40% of them said they would be prone to compare themselves, likely because over 95% learned strategies to reduce comparison, feeling heard and supported. Over 80% of them said that they were encouraged to get further peer pressure support.
From the workshops, our classmates showed promise to limit academic peer pressure and its impacts on their well being. The likelihood to compare grades and activities decreased by 35%, and there's a 40% improved understanding of applying coping strategies in real time, and roughly a 35% increase in interest for peer pressure support, overall signaling a success in educating and prompting the audience to cope with provided strategies and resources.
We understand that it may be challenging to implement coping strategies without assistance. That's why we made the app Focus Flow, which uses science backed methods to help users address the academic peer pressure in their lives. Opening to our homepage, there's a quiz that assesses a user's everyday well being to refer to certain app resources. This includes a designated space for users to make and focus on their personal goals, CBT based games to calm and ground users, and a journaling tab that provides a platforms for users to recognize stressors and get specialized support for it. The app has been recognized by award winning business organization iStar Valley, who promoted the app in their Global Entrepreneurship Week celebration in front of 200 plus students, mentors, and community leaders.
Since the app is under beta testing with users, we developed a website that overviews our presentation campaign, provides access to presentation and quiz curriculum, gives peer pressure strategies and resources, and introduces supporting initiatives.
To expand the reach of our message and resources, we made an Instagram page that garnered over 35 followers, primarily local high school and college students. The page we post about the story, the class presentations, evaluation results and insight, and the app and website contents.
In conclusion, we'll continue to expand this curriculum in our school district and beyond to bring awareness to academic peer pressure. Many students feel that academic peer pressure is expected and can't be controlled. However, it poses negative impacts on mental health that can be addressed. So, we are working with local students and teachers to design video curriculum with lesson plans and assignments for peers and educators to use. In HOSA ILC, we can meet health professionals with experience on the topic and receive judge approval and feedback, earning trust and recognition. Continue to support our journey in making healthy school environments. Remember,
Remember, your grades, your goals, your game.